news.
Right meow. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, wrestling fans and sports entertainment fans, welcome to the No Shit Man Cave. I'm Ellie Jair.
I'm Jay Tilly.
Dude, can wrestling get any better if you are a no shit pro wrestling fan than it is right now with AEW hitting on all cylinders,
Oof, I got questions about that one.
NWA, Impact, and then you've got the sports entertainment piece. Man, what do you think, man? Talk to me.
Man, I tell you what, I did not even finish watching Dynamite last night.
Hmm.
I turned it off because I thought it was a garbage show.
Mm.
Man, in general, yes, I'm a huge AEW wrestling fan, but that was rough last night. Man.
Hmm.
So before we get into it and I start yelling and screaming and my disappointments, I will
Woosah.
say
Your pressure
the
points. Your
yeah
pressure
yeah
points. Woosah,
the
woosah.
the uh the news that broke today that Tony Khan donated everything he made from that sponsorship for Texas Chainsaw to the Maui Fund is awesome. Like that's
Yeah.
good stuff. And that's one thing AEW is really good at is the community services and the donations and all that. That aside, what the fuck?
What the
I'm just
fudge?
gonna say it was that
Fudge.
match. That was the most horrible. Like what a way to ruin. Like I thought the zombie thing was bad.
Oh no, you
This
didn't.
was right there with it. I'm just like, what is going
Shoo.
on here? I was so
So
disappointed.
for all of our fans, if you go back into your wrestling Rolodex or Google YouTube Zombie Battle Royal, you will understand exactly what my boy Jay Tilly is talking about because, bro, yeah,
I
it's
mean, they had just to give you guys, if you hadn't seen it, they had wrestlers dressed up as zombies outside
hmm,
the ring, and if you got thrown out there, the zombies are going to attack you. But I,
yeah, what
this
a
this
terrible
was
concept.
this was. Uh, yeah, it left me speechless. Like I didn't even
Yeah.
watch. I turned it off, so I missed the last few minutes of the show, which was actually I take it back. I think I watched the Britt Baker match this morning, but I haven't seen the Young Bucks Guns match yet because I was just
Hmm.
so flabbergasted at how brutal that episode of Dynamite was. It was all over the place,
Hmm.
and there was some good stuff mixed in, but also some really terrible stuff mixed in, like that
Yeah.
match for one. And I knew going into it kind of what to expect. I'm like, this is going to be a cheesy, plunder brawl. But come on, the pouring the fake blood on them and shooting it all in the red, and then Leatherface coming out with the one of the worst Leatherface masks I've ever seen. Chasing, I was like,
Oh man.
and I'm okay with doing sponsorship and corporate synergy. That's fine, but oof, man, like come up with something better. And I think if the rest of the show would have been okay, like better, it might not have bothered me as much. But there was just a lot on this show that I had a hard time with. The Kenny Omega stuff, the way that was edited and produced looked terrible.
Hmm.
Not necessarily the beatdown and everything, but the fact that he's sitting there in an interview and then Don Callis walks into frame. I've been to Daily Place where they were sitting. He'd have seen Don Callis coming for like 10 minutes. Like, come on, man. And
It's
then when
like the
they're
scene from
Monty Python
the
is what I thought about.
well, yeah, Monty Python's or the Spy That Shagged Me
Oh
in that
yeah.
one scene where he's like, ah, ah, ah. Like, come on, man.
Yeah. I thought Monty
It's a
Python where they're
straight
storming
shot.
the castle.
Yeah.
Ah, and then they just kill him. But
Yeah.
I so then the beatdown happens by the Bang Bang Gang, and like they kept cutting
Golden
back
Socks.
to Jim Ross, who was
Yeah.
just like he didn't know what to do. And I love Jim Ross, but I just
Do
whew.
you feel like Jim Ross is at the same point in his career as the Hardys are in theirs?
To an extent, yes. I don't think Jim Ross is. I don't think he needs to like go home and never do anything again. I think he's probably a great road agent, but well,
Ooh,
I
yeah.
take that back. I mean, his
Or an
commentary,
ambassador at or something, yeah.
yeah, but his commentary on Collision's been great. So he's got that.
Hmm.
But it's just like I almost felt like they didn't know, he didn't know they were going to cut back to him during those clips. So he's because
Oh.
like they're beating Kenny Omega and he's just looking around, and then at one point they cut back to him and he's standing up and he goes, "Somebody should get some help." I'm like, "Yeah, go get help." I
Yeah.
just was it was oh, man. But some
You
positives.
remember, yeah. You
Go ahead.
remember during year one, old JR inadvertently said WWE
Oh yeah.
and they crucified him. And now it's like we don't talk about the referees anymore because they're doing so much better.
Yep.
I hate to admit that I feel like the women's booking across professional wrestling has gotten a little bit better. So I can't really argue about that. Is it great? No, but you're sort of swaying away from it, and it feels like JR is now a topic that we don't like. It's like Bruno. We don't talk about Bruno, and my boy, like he's so engaging and entertaining on his podcast. He has a couple of other ventures that he's part of that he's very involved in. And
His
then he's
books are
on,
phenomenal.
absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. And whenever he's on an interview of any form or fashion, he hasn't been on a couple of the big ones that we generally listen to lately, but he's been doing some of those smaller ones. And shout out to Van Fleet. He is popping right now, and super, super excited for the traction that he's getting and his following. But yeah, I feel
He
like,
follows us too
hey,
on Twitter.
appreciate it,
Yep.
brother.
Yep.
So you've got JR. Taz is straight cash.
Yeah.
Like, just keep the press printing because he's just awesome. Excalibur is Excalibur. He's coming out with all those funky indie, the supercalifragilisticexpialidocious suplex. You're like,
Yeah.
what? And yeah. So yeah, it's really, I'm, even with the some of the shows for AEW that you walk away, you're like, we didn't advance any storylines. We did destroy a couple cars in a parking lot and the best friend's mom's van, and every windshield inside the employee section of the parking over there at Daly's place
Yep.
smashed. So, but yeah, even the misgivings, I feel like at this point, like AEW is giving us something that the WWE, I don't want to say can't, but it's almost like they think at a different level,
Right.
and AEW is, I don't even know how to put it. It's like, like watching, I don't know, like you're watching the difference between the SEC and, the Sun Belt. It's just, it's different. It's still football. It's still whatever, fans relate to it accordingly. But I really feel like AEW is listening to the fan. And when they have like a big whiff, you're like, you know what? You
Right.
can't bat 1,000 and it's whatever. But then you look back and go, but they knew better.
Right.
And it's
Yeah.
like, oh, man.
And this show and Tony Khan even tweeted that the fact that they kind of threw this one together at the last minute, the fight for the fallen, because he wanted to support the fires in Maui. So understanding, and then I think in his tweet he even mentioned the fact that they had already signed to do this Texas Chainsaw thing for the
Oh,
sponsorship, so they couldn't pull it. Um, and like I said, I love the idea that he donated all that money, like
that's awesome.
$100,000 or whatever he got for that sponsorship, just
Yeah.
donated it all.
If you go on to aeshop.com or AEW, yeah, AEW.com/shop, their store,
Yep.
that Fight for the Fallen shirt tie-dye themed one.
Oh,
It's
cool.
it's pretty slick. I love me
Yep.
some
All
tie-dye
proceeds are
stuff.
going to, that charity that the food
Yeah.
banks and everything. So really, really like noble stuff. But
Hmm.
I just felt like the show was rough. I mean, even some of the all in build, I got a little disappointed in. When so we had Yuta and Orange Cassidy in that first match, which was pretty decent match. However, it ends with the beatdown with BCC jumping Orange Cassidy, which he gets the win. And I also think that's the first time anybody's kicked out of Wheeler Yuta's seatbelt pin. I'd have to check that, but I think that's the first person to kick out of it. But you get Moxley and Claudio jump in and beat him up. Then the best friends come out. BCC still gets ahead. Then the Lucha Brothers come out. Then they get the advantage again. And then you get Eddie Kingston come out, which awesome. Fantastic to see Eddie Kingston back. But then we get a 6-on-6 stadium stampede match at Wimbledon. I'm just like, Stadium Stampede worked, and I liked both of them. They worked in the pandemic age, but those were
Yeah.
in empty to almost empty stadiums. How are we going to do 80,000 people in the crowd and do a stadium stampede? Now, what I think is it's actually going to be more like an Anarchy in the Arena, but because they're in a
Mm.
stadium, they're going to call it a stadium stampede. Maybe it's in the wording, but at the same time, like I was really hoping for a Moxley Orange Cassidy one-on-one match, and then
I
get
know. I feel
Kingston
like
and
that.
Claudio, get the one-on-ones.
Oh.
And I
That'd be a good one.
yeah, exactly. And I get the fact that 80,000 people, it's on track to be the
God, that
biggest
sounds so crazy.
and I've got to say this cuz WWE fans get mad. The biggest single day wrestling event.
Single day,
Yeah,
one day.
one day. It's on track to be the largest wrestling crowd in one place at one time, not spread over 2
Wow.
days. Legit crowd too, not inflated numbers that we sometimes get at wrestling crowds.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's on track to like break records. So I get the fact that you want to put
That's
as
so
many
cool.
people on it as possible. And I am sure when you and I are sitting here watching Anarchy in the or Stadium Stampede, we're probably going, "Oh yeah, this is great."
Yeah.
It's just one of those things that I'd rather seen some of these solo matches and then give me a battle royal. As much as I hate to say that, like
Oh man, yeah.
if you want to get other
Just
people on
not
the
a
show,
zombie one.
yeah, don't do a Texas Chainsaw Battle Royal. Hey, you know what though? That one they did a month ago, the 21 for the Orange Cassidy's title. That was a hell of a
Yeah.
battle royal.
That was fun, and it was like, I don't know if it was fun because I wanted it to be, but I think it was even more fun or funner because Orange Cassidy was actually involved, and
Right.
he had a little bit of control with his destiny. So it wasn't just like this flippant, get a ladder, I'm at the top, I'm gonna grab a big
Right. Gold
Cheerio,
ring.
or yeah. So, um, I get the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. It's very symbolic. Andre's such a heroic, part of professional
Yeah.
wrestling history. But yeah, when you can really get a really cool theme and you get awesome participation, and like we were talking about earlier, Orange Cassidy was in control of his own situation, and he sort of put himself in that, right? So he was like,
Yeah.
yeah, even to the point he invited Renee. Hey,
You want to be in it too?
you want to be number 22? No, I'm good.
Yep.
He just like gives. And for those of us who aren't watching on the video, I have my Orange Cassidy thumb, not thumb up. So yeah.
Yeah. But
Shit.
so we know they could put together battle royal, which
Yeah.
who knows? We still might get an announcement of some battle royal. Um so we built that match, which there is that mystery of who the other three on the BCC side is going to be. So I'm a little intrigued by that. Are we going to see, Brian Danielson and maybe a Shuda and somebody else? Are we going to see? Yeah, I have no idea who the BCC is going to pick. I was trying to think of like who's been feuding with the Lucha Brothers and like AAA and stuff, and maybe they'll show up. Uh,
Oh
but
man,
I
that'd be
know
fun.
Penta just lost an ambulance match to QT Marshall. I don't want. I don't. No. Nope. Nope,
Mm,
don't put him in this.
nope.
But I don't
Mm.
know, like maybe Roosh. Like I don't know.
Ooh,
I'm not
a
sure where they're gonna go.
returning Roosh.
Yeah, that could
Wow.
be nice.
Yeah. How about a
That
Jey
could.
Uso?
There you go. Jey Uso showing up. I think the Jey Uso
Old
thing is a work.
Yeah. Oh, 100. I was
Yeah,
listening
it's
to
totally a work.
shout out. Yeah. So I am a day behind in all my podcasts right now. So I apologize to all our podcaster brothers and sisters. And one of the podcasts that I go through, they were talking about the significance of the Usos in wrestling history in relation to the bloodline, not the bloodline, the story, but the actual Samoan bloodline, and then you sprinkle in the actual name of the bloodline. And I was like, dude, imagine if old Jay Fatu shows up in Impact and you have
Oh
Trinity,
yeah,
who's the sister in law of Jay Fatu. And like, is Rikishi now going to show up? Like, if you could play some kind of both sides of the fence, RVD got approval from the WWE to do the AEW show, and he's still going to be part of WrestleMania.
which is cool.
And you're like, dude, that is so sick
Yep.
and awesome for both companies. And it almost feels like just shy of an olive branch.
Yeah, exactly.
But imagine if you could get a freaking storyline almost like uh, two different universes colliding, and you can get Jay Fatu on one show and the Usos on another show, and somehow they can make it work to, swerve and, even maybe advance Impact, not to the point where I hope WWE Endeavor slash TKO Enterprises does not try and buy Impact and merge them, but it would, yeah, I agree with you though. I think it's a big swerve, and he's going to show up, and we're going to have at WrestleMania when we're sitting there. We're going to watch the Uso brothers um, go for
In a
the
tribal
family
combat.
name, a noble tribal combat, a a brotherly love street fight, or
Brother
a
love.
Tongan death match, whatever we're going to
There
call
you
it.
go.
Basically, a sexy no DQ match that you can sell a T-shirt on. And it's unfortunate too, because as much as we talk about it, or the brothers talked about, yeah, I'd love to have a match with my brother. They're almost the greatest tag team in the WWE, WWF history, behind some of the greats, and then the modern era between the New Day, the Usos, Edge and Christian, Hardys. You've got to put the Usos in there, and I'd
Hmm.
hate for their like history to end that way. And I would never want to see the Guns go through this, because I think their characters are so different,
Hmm.
and they're stronger as a unit than they would be individually. And I know that was a quick swerve back to AEW, and they're such a young tag team. They're probably not going anywhere in the singles world anytime
Right.
soon, but
What
you never know.
I mean, just to keep it going with the AEW, you mentioned Swerve several times there. Let's go on to the match that I thought was really damn amazing, and that was Swerve Strickland's opponents. That'll be at All In, which is one of his opponents, which is Darby Allen and Nick Wayne against the Mogul Empire there. What a big man versus little man match that I absolutely enjoyed every minute of. Nick Wayne is going he is amazing now at 18 years old. I can't imagine what he's going to be like as he gets mic skill training and gets some of the learned information that being on a live show is going to, or live taped, whatever you want to call it, but on a
Yeah.
TV show is going to give him, because working in independence, I'm sure, is a lot different than being in front of all those cameras and knowing where the hard camera is and all that. But holy cow, man, what a match! And I hope he shows up at All In, even if he's just in the corner of Sting and Darby Allen, just so he could feel that eighty
Oh my
thousand
God,
people. I mean, that place is going to be humming with excitement, I think.
dude. You're going to see, and in like we talked about this before, I think a couple of times. So the community is already enthralled with their soccer team. They're used to having that stadium there packed to the gills, but you've got, you're gonna have shows and people from AEW and wrestling fans and wrestling media from all over the world starting the Tuesday prior, and the environment, the energy, the the streets, like the energy is going to be, you can almost feel it, and I'm like getting goosebumps just talking about it. It's going to be like palpable, like you're going to
Mhm.
feel like holy cow, like almost like when you've got one window open in your truck and your ear starts like dig, 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 like holy, you're going to feel that kind of energy. And dude, when they start singing Jericho's song, like dude, if they open with Osprey versus Jericho, and I'm
I
already
bet they will.
disappointed that it's not going to be Osprey and Omega, or Osprey and another up and coming Osprey and Guevara, something that you could really sink your teeth into, and they're working toward passing the torch. I don't know that Jericho's ready to pass any torch, and it unfortunately it turns into a storyline going on too long. But you can't have a bad match with Osprey, and I hope Jericho's ready. Um, but yeah,
I think I think Jericho will be ready. I do. I
mm,
think it'll be a great match. I would almost put money on the fact that it opens because he knows he can't main event, so he's going to politic his way to be the first pop of the night. And yeah, them singing Judas, especially him going in as a face. Oh, Judas is going to go nuts, and the match I think will go fine. I did appreciate a little bit of Jericho's commentary on when he was talking about the fact that they were supposed to take each other on in 2019 when he was in New Japan, and then the pandemic hit and he couldn't do it. I was like, okay, all right, so this is
that's
something you guys were planning on. I'll buy it a little better.
mhm.
Like it made me buy the story a little more. Like, okay, so Osprey's pissed because you missed that. Got it. Okay, I'm a little bought in now. I also really like that segment with Don Callis and Jericho. You know, when he said, "Yeah, I'll join you." What? You said yes, and then he didn't want to show him the painting, and that was great. Like a really cool way to set all that up. Because when he said yes, I'm like, oh, like it was such a roller coaster of emotions because I was like, "Oh, cool. We're not gonna get Osprey and Jericho. We're gonna get Osprey and somebody else." And then I was like, "Oh, we are gonna get Osprey and
Oh.
Jericho. Oh, that ought
Yeah,
to be pretty good though." And
yeah,
then I can't name another wrestler that has gone from turning heel to face again in a matter of what 5 minutes. Like he came out
seriously,
almost as a face, immediately turned heel to join Callis, and then turned face again to attack Callis. So I was like, "All right, cool."
yeah.
But
It's yeah,
go
that's
ahead.
gonna be a lot of fun. I think is I just so he's the JAS has disbanded. They will or won't be involved. I don't think they will. Um, Aussie Open or the Empire, I don't think will be any play in it. I think Jericho will come out in his current moniker and not in that Painmaker, sort of uh, blackened out motif kind of
Right.
a thing. So yeah, I just I've seen Osprey wrestle matches where he wasn't, flying off the top rope, and they're still really good matches. I just don't think Lionheart is still there for Jericho, and he's only got a couple of moonsaults per match. And I don't want him to show his ass, especially in such a huge show, not just for wrestling, not just for AEW, but whoever opens the show is gonna get that freaking lightning. Just like Dr. Brown was looking for the 1.1 watt gigawatts or whatever. Um, Man, it's a good thing that Wembley doesn't have a roof, because that mother trucker would get blown off by some dedicated AEW faithful
Well, it's like,
coming out. So
was it Bubba Ray that tells the story about when he made his return at, I think it was Royal Rumble, or maybe it was Mark Henry. I don't remember exactly who it was. I remember it was on Busted Open, and the crowd was so loud, the energy was so strong that he literally blacked out before he walked down to the ring. I'm like, that's impressive. Like that's and I believe it. I can
yeah,
imagine being 80,000 people
Jesus.
projecting their energy towards you.
Mm,
Yeah, I think Jericho will rise to the occasion. I think it'll be a fine match, and they have to put on a good show because if they're going to make this their WrestleMania, so
yeah.
this, if you're looking, this is WrestleMania 1. You know, this is
God
AEW staking that in the ground, saying, "Look, we just packed 80,000 people into an arena. I'm sorry, into a
That's a good
stadium."
analogy, by the way. Very,
Yeah.
very good analogy. Yeah.
So
Wow.
this is them saying, "Look what we can do."
That
And
is
there is
wow.
all kinds of chatter in Twitter and in the wrestling media about the card not being built well and all that. It, so
Come on.
the same thing happened with Forbidden Door 1, right? Like we all went in going, "Oh, this build's been not so good." And then the show was amazing.
Amazing. Yeah.
And I'm almost wondering if this is like a Tony Khan thing where he doesn't know how to book the first one, so he gets nervous and doesn't know how to throw everything together and then relaxes a little, because I kind of feel like that's how this is going. The builds have been kind of off. I also think a lot of it has to do with getting as many names on the card into the building as he can,
Hmm.
which makes sense. Give those people what they want. But I feel like the build's been but I have a feeling that on the night we're going to be sitting here talking about, oh my gosh, can you be like Ibushi and Takeshita are going out in the ring and what a match, and Hangman and Juice Robinson are just beating the hell out of each other, and we're gonna love it, and it's gonna be in our veins, and Lord knows what's gonna happen with MJF and Adam Cole.
Oh my God.
I that skit
Zero
they did,
hour. 0 hour. You have your Ring of Honor tag team champions, Aussie Open, phenomenal tag team, just a fun tag team to watch, and your AEW World Champion and one of your most popular wrestlers, 0 hour, opening it up
for
for the
free.
ROH Tag Team Championships for free.
Yep.
That's
And
just
the
wow.
skit they did
Yeah.
was so good. They take it to Outback, and man, that blue and onion was awesome. Outback's going, hell yeah, there's some money.
Yeah,
But
there we go. Cha-ching.
and when they're getting yelled at by Tony Khan, and he opens the door, and or MJF says something about, oh, we'll wait till 2024 because then I'm gonna hold this against you. He opens the door, he goes, hey, hi Tony. He's all nice suddenly, and I love how Tony like switch. You hear him screaming in the door, and when the door opens, he's back to mild, meek Tony we've always seen on TV. And he walks away. He's like, I was just about to tell him off. Man, that was so much fun. And I, I know it's going to come to an end, right? Like all in. I assume I don't see them shaking hands at the end of the match and patting each other on the shoulder. Or maybe they will. I don't know, but I want them to
I
because I
don't know.
want this to keep
Yeah,
going. It's so much fun.
yeah.
But
What if there's like some kind of yeah, I don't think the main event could go to a wonky finish like the ring rope breaks or they're out of referees and the match has to end and they're going to finish it at all out instead of
now,
I don't it's got to
not at this
end.
show.
Yeah, it's got to be a definitive, the fans go happy, go home happy, and I could see them changing it on the fly because the
Yeah,
crowd is going to start vibing. The ref's going to go, you know, um, hey, just got the call. We're going plan B.
yeah, could be.
And yeah,
Or either
that's,
way, I mean, well, CM Punk's got a match on the show. I was gonna say, can you imagine CM Punk
yeah.
walking out at the end there too?
Oh,
Like, you've got your
I
belt, but
hope
here's the
not.
real belt, and then you set up All Out. Is CM Punk versus whoever that champion's going to be. But I don't know if that'll happen or not. We'll have to see. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's going to be good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
I'm thinking to myself like, because you mentioned CM Punk, and now I have it in my head because, like, dude, we talked about it the other day. Like, I'm just sitting here waiting. I'm waiting for CM Punk to do something wonky. Boom.
Yep.
24 hours later, hey, send these guys away from the building, blah, blah, blah. I was like, God damn it, Punk. Come on,
Yeah.
dude. Like,
I thought the same thing.
fuck.
I read those stories and like, and then he cut the promo on Hangman after the fact, which he came
Yeah.
back out and apologized for. But in the back of my head, I'm still going, is this all a work? Like, I just, he can't be that much of a asshole. I mean, they've got to work and do business. And I just, like Ryan Nemeth, like, really, you're going to kick him out? Like, the dude barely is on TV anyway. He was supposed to be there to work a match. Like, you're gonna cost this guy money and not let him wrestle in
Yeah.
the career he's wanting to do. So yeah, I don't know, man. I'm hoping it's all leading up to like something in a year, 2 years, however long they want to take, in some kind of invasion angle, and we'll have them finally like have that match. But maybe he is that much of a jerk and that much of a, well, if my guy can't be here, your guy can't be here
Yeah.
kind of stuff with Christopher Daniels. But it would be it would just be strange.
Hmm.
Strange for all that to happen, I guess.
Yeah. Damn. I don't know, man. Nonetheless, CM Punk, he'll be 22 minutes of so 60, he'll be 22 minutes of 240. So he'll be just under 10%, which is fine. Because you have to have that, 10% sprinkled in. So Punk's match will occur. He'll walk away. Not sure if it's going to be Stark or um, if it's actually going to be Samoa Joe. And if it is, I hope Samoa Joe hits him with the Karakuda.
Well, he choked him out
But
Saturday. Oop,
yeah,
you know.
that's a good point. And why they didn't have that on camera? Um,
Oh, I thought it worked out all right. Like, I like the fact, like,
oh, you
where's
think
Punk?
so? Yeah,
Yeah, like, where's Punk? And then they kind of cut to him, like, he should have been back in the ring, man. And they cut to him, he's getting choked out. I was like, that kind of worked.
yeah,
I don't mind. So, like, some of the production, I say in quotation marks, flubs that they do, I don't mind all the time. Like Anarchy in the Arena, sometimes you miss some of the main action, but I like that hectic, chaotic feel. And I think the Samoa Joe thing is part of that, right? Like, he attacked him, and
yeah.
in all reality, we wouldn't have known he was gonna attack him, so the fact that he did is like, "Oh,
Oh,
guys,
okay,
we
that's
gotta cut
true.
this."
That's a
So
good point.
I kinda like the fact that it leaves a little bit of that realism in it,
Hmm.
to me at least. Like,
Yeah,
I
it
appreciate
makes
the
it.
fact, like, "Where's he at?
Yeah,
Oh, crap."
yeah. It makes it feel less produced. It's like
Right.
this is breaking news. CM Punk has just been choked out. So that's a strong point. My WWE brain has got everything so overly produced that if you're not on your marks, it's almost to the point where they have blue painter's tape. So
Must
blue
stand here
painter's
to take
tape.
drop kick.
Yeah. So champions, there's white painter's tape because the titles are white. Um, the tag team championships are red and blue. So red and blue tape, you're here. Enhancement talent is black or whatever, like rainbow
That's gotta
something.
be rainbow because of NXT, yeah, the
Yeah,
rainbow
there you
colors.
go. Man, that's
But,
dude,
yeah,
that's freaking hilarious.
yeah. Yeah, I didn't mind that. I thought it was okay. I thought that was, and man, I tell you what, Collision continues to put on shows that I'm just like, "Phew, this is good stuff." Like, he can be an asshole and be kicking people out of building, but if he's the one booking that show, I'm like, "Yeah, he's doing a good job." In my opinion, he's outdoing the Elite right now, because I don't feel like,
Wow.
yeah, I just don't feel like there's much to their storyline stuff right now.
Hmm.
Although I am starting to pick up things, right? Like, so we've got Hangman on Dynamite with the whole uh, you know, hospital they said he was at, which didn't look anything like a hospital, but he's drinking a beer. And I was like, oh, that's interesting
Oh,
because,
what kind of
if you go
hospital
back
is it?
if you go back through the evolution of Hangman too, right? Like, he was with the Elite and was drinking, which caused him to have issues with them. Then they throw the drink in his face and turn on him. Well, then he's drinking because he's alone and has no friends. He stops drinking, hooks up with the Dark Order, gets nice and not drinking anymore, and he talks about being all sober and everything. Then he rolls back in with the Elite, and then we see him with a beer in it. I'm like, oh man, there's like,
Hmm.
is this working with the Elite driving him to drink because he can't handle
Yeah.
some of this stuff? Like, it was a little subtle thing, but it's enough to where you're like, oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
So we'll see where that
That's
leads.
a that's really that's a good pickup too. So you've got this like, you know, whole dynamic of who is Hangman Page, and he's gone through this whole,
Yep.
character evolution, and he and Jericho competed to be the inaugural AEW champion, and he wouldn't wear that championship for 2 years after that. So like, does he still have a chip on his shoulder because Tony didn't think he was ready to be the champion, be the first champion,
Hmm.
which still to this day I think was the smartest thing to do.
Yeah.
You put the title on Jericho, you make it credible because he's the Ocho. Well, he was the what is it?
Non
Cace. He
Ocho.
would, he yeah. Uh, so yeah, I mean that's very interesting. So he's gone through this whole career evolution, character evolution. He was tag team champions with Omega. He had a falling out. He won the title. He lost the title, and he lost his eye. He was gone. Now he's back, and he's Hangman. But what version of Hangman are you
Yep.
getting? And when you mention about him being the elite, and they were so celebratory a couple weeks ago, hey, just so everybody knows, the elite is here to stay, and we've extended 4 more years. Um, but yeah, that's an interesting, fun twist to a already awesome story of AEW going from this fledgling company to freaking filling Wembley. God dog it. Woo.
Well, and now this may be really me reaching, but I also wonder if there isn't something to the fact that he's drinking a beer and the guy who's calling him out and talking trash to him is all straight edge, no alcohol, no. I'm like, ooh,
Ooh.
is there something else to this story? Like,
Okay.
I, I, I that may be way over analyzing that, but heck, why not? Like,
Yeah.
it can't be that much of a coincidence that he's got a beer in his hand on the night
Yeah.
that, uh, CM Punk kicks him out of his building and says you can't take beer. So
Mm.
be very interesting, very very interesting to see what happens down the road.
Interessante.
Yep. Yep. So we didn't really get a chance to talk about Raw this week either because we had some issues on Tuesday. But what did
Some
you think of Raw
Monday
this
Night
week?
Raw. I, I had my WWE hat on, loud and proud. Really am digging a lot of the storylines, and I'm trying to figure out what we're building toward. Are we building toward a huge return? Are we building toward payback or WrestleMania next year? Um, it just feels like everything's kind of building on itself on Raw, and then I feel like it's imploding on SmackDown. And then I hear, I think it was Tuesday, that basically said, "Hey, the bloodline's going away for a little while." I'm like, okay, well, define a little while. And last time I Googled wrestling rules from 100 years ago, a champion has to defend their championship within 30 days, or they have to relinquish the title. Oh, my bad. We're trying to get Roman Reigns to 27,000 days as champion. So yeah, this whole deuces ooses thing with Jay leaving. Um, I sort of like it. I think it's fun. I'm really digging the character evolution with Jay, and Jimmy has really surprised me with his mic work. Doesn't seem nervous, doesn't seem, anything. We're watching, if you're watching some of the oopsies in wrestling promotion type stuff, local promoters, they are releasing posters in advance of announcements. So you see, oops, my bad, Rikishi's on a poster,
I saw that.
and you're like, dog, come on, man. That's just Bush League. And I get people are trying to sell tickets at the Youngstown Civic
Right.
Center. I'm sure they need all the seats filled that they can get, but damn. So no, I'm really digging Raw. I'm really digging the whole general manager role. I think that's awesome. And then you have the freaking prototypical Karen walking around with the tag team championships.
I
And
love
dude,
Piper Niven.
oh
Nope,
my god.
that's mine. Give it to me. I was like,
Nope.
all right, I'm down with this. This is cool.
All right, I'll take it. I think there's going to be a twist that will have um, Chelsea tell Piper, "Hey, this isn't working out," or something's going to happen um, because this Chelsea Got Talent thing. Oh man, and God, yeah, I
Well,
just
what they
yeah,
could do is do the Chelsea's Got Talent thing, and then every person she's like, "Oh, I like this person." Piper Niven just destroys. So
yeah,
everybody comes out and does their thing, and then Piper Niven just like in the backstage where they're walking back gets crushed, and then Piper comes out and it's like, "Well, I'm the last one left. It's got to be me." So they could do
all
something
right,
fun with it. I agree. It's
yeah,
funny because the reason I asked you is because I actually enjoyed Raw more than Dynamite this week.
which is
Which,
crazy, right?
yep, yep. I
Man,
mean, like I said, there was some good stuff on Dynamite, and I enjoyed parts of it. But I found myself sitting and kind of chuckling at Raw and uh intrigued at something. Now there were typical WWE things like the Indy Hartwell match ended the exact same way the JD McDonough match ended with a roll up after distraction after. But like JD McDonough got a little more of a push. But like there were things that I got frustrated with, but I still enjoyed it more than I seem to enjoy. And maybe I was in a bad mood yesterday. I don't know. Maybe when I watch Dynamite back again, I'll enjoy it more. But
yeah,
I got frustrated with the stadium stampede, Anacare Arena, whatever they're going to call it, 6-on-6, because I really was hoping to just see, heck, even Kingston versus Mox. Like I was hoping
oh my
something
god,
more would come out of that. So I was a little disappointed. Again, on the night it'll be great. Then the Texas Chainsaw thing, I'm just like, what
yeah,
am I watching? Like, I, I don't, I don't want to watch this, and I
yeah,
didn't. I ended up turning it off and walked out of the room, and like it was on. Well, I didn't walk out of the room. It was on, and I wasn't really paying attention. I was doing other, like I was on my phone and doing stuff, which usually in
yeah,
AEW I don't. I sit and I watch it,
yeah,
and I was doing stuff, and then I watched the Bunny and Britt Baker match. Decent match, good enough. I mean, it was in the death spot that they like to put women's wrestling in, so I was a little disappointed it didn't main event.
yeah.
And then at that
Awesome to
point, I was
see
like,
Bunny back too.
yeah,
That's
that
that's
that was
super
good to
cool.
see because she's been out for 6 months, I think I heard. So definitely good to see her back. And yeah, I didn't even watch the Guns Young Bucks. I At that point I was like, I don't really want to watch much more of this. So I
Wow.
need to go back and watch it because I am a huge Young Bucks fan and I feel bad.
Hmm.
But very frustrating Dynamite for me. And like I said, I kind of enjoyed Raw. I liked some of the storylines. I liked the Shinsei Nakamura turn, the new
Ooh, I
look,
love that.
the cut in the
Love
promo
that.
in Japanese, and then like
Oh,
whatever he said to Seth to make him like freeze up and like not know what to do. Good stuff, man. And I
mm.
like to the point where I'm like, I kind of want him to take that belt. Like I'd love to see a Nakamura run,
Out
you
of
know?
nowhere too.
Yep. It would be
Like,
great.
yeah, it's not some okay. Well, you're like, hey, Shinsuke's lost. He lost to Bronson Reed a couple days ago. Okay, so if Shinsuke wins, now Bronson's the number one contender, and there's going to be this weird energy, whatever. Dude, the WWE programs you to remember what they want you to remember, forget what they want you to forget. In this current edition of Shinsuke,
Oh, I lost your audio.
I'm really looking forward to a Shinsuke Seth interaction. Both of them, they can operate stiff, and they're both extremely athletic and oddly strong for their build. So I think it'll be a lot of fun. And I still think Seth leaves your world champion,
Yeah.
because this is a trajectory to the title becoming relevant, and or Roman Reigns and Seth crossing paths, and Seth reminding Roman, "You realize I'm the only person in WWE you've never beat."
Yeah.
And then he'll walk away, and then he's like, "Whoa, whoa," and he's just sitting there like, "Wise man, where's Jay at? Oh, he's over on Impact. Oh, my bad."
The only thing about Shinsuke winning though is then you've set up maybe Cody and Shinsuke down the road because
Hmm.
we've seen Rollins and Cody several times. He's beat him all 3 times. So I'm like, I don't really want to see that
Hmm.
again, but I'm down for a Shinsuke Nakamura Cody feud, which I guess you can do that without the title involved.
Hmm.
Although I think they're angling for a Cody Finn Balor run of matches right now, which I'm
Yeah,
down for too. I'm
very
okay with
down. Yeah,
that.
that's an awesome backstory too,
Yep.
because it goes back
The
to
Bullet
pre.
Club.
Yeah, so he was, what was it, like the second iteration, I think, maybe third iteration, Cody with the dark hair. And yeah, golly, man, that would be, wow, if they could get access to that footage
Mm,
and be able to tell that story from sort of its sort of like an origin story. that would be
yeah.
That would be when Cody went away and rebuilt himself. Doo, doo, doo.
Yep.
And then, now here we are. That would be,
Yeah.
that'd be a
Because
lot of fun.
Because yeah, like I said, they've got that history, that Bullet Club history, and then
Hmm.
I mean, if they really wanted to do some fun Bullet Club backstory stuff, they could bring AJ Styles into the mix because AJ was actually part
Oh my
of the
goodness.
Bullet Club when Prince Devitt at the time ran it. He was the guy who was part of it, so they were Bullet Club. And I don't
I
remember.
totally forgot about that.
I don't I can't remember who betrayed. I think they all three left on good terms. Like when Cody was in
Hmm.
Bullet Club and all that, I think they were all on good terms. But yeah, but what would be funny is if they do a Bullet Club storyline on WWE when you got AEW doing a Bullet Club storyline too.
Oh yeah.
New Japan just wins all over the place. 'Cause-
And where does the OC fit in? Obviously, Michin,
Yep.
um, or Mia Yim she hasn't wrestled in New Japan. She did Impact. She did some Indies
Yeah.
and NXT and WWE. But where's the OC fit in? The Good Brothers and AJ Styles. So that would be cool. So if regardless of how it ends, is there some kind of you know um, cross referencing? Yeah, there's so many. I didn't even think of the. I totally forgot about AJ, which is awesome. I'm glad you brought that up. When
Yeah.
he left TNA Impact to make a name for himself, only to get brought up to the WWE. That debut at the Royal
Oh yeah.
Rumble, whoo, that was awesome.
Yeah.
But shit, man, this is a great problem to have. You've got these wrestlers, superstars that are arguably toward the back end of their career. A lot of them are in their 40s. Um, and they've got just such rich traditions and histories where they've crossed paths before. And Shinsuke being a boss back in the New Japan days,
Yeah.
shoo, and that would be fun if they could tell that story. And I don't know if New Japan would be like, well, you can't use our
Right.
footage, or WWE doesn't want to, mention anything from anybody's wrestling lineage. But man, that's gonna be, yeah, that's gonna be a
Yep.
blast.
Yeah. I agree. And then for those of you that may not have watched or don't know, the Shinsuke Nakamura AJ Styles feud in New Japan, chef's kiss, baby. It was fantastic. They put on some
Yeah.
matches that you swear they were really trying to kill each other. They beat the hell out of each other. So good stuff there. So, final beard ratings for this week. What'd you give everything?
So I'm having a lot of fun um, with the stories, with the connecting the evolution. I keep saying evolution. It might have been because I watched on the WWE network and everybody was talking about factions and stuff today, but just watching how all the storylines are progressing, it feels like every episode they're bringing more stories and more interest to whatever the next pay per view is. You've got the Becky Trish, um, storyline going. I think that's freaking awesome. That's going to finish in a cage, hopefully at Payback because they missed out on the SummerSlam payday. Um, the AEW has got a lot of really good stuff going on, even with the women's storyline. And I love the character work that Tony is doing.
Yeah.
I love Chelsea. I think she's freaking phenomenal. And kudos to Matt Cardona and showing her how to use the internet to get herself over and all of that Chelsea's Got Talent thing. God damn.
Yeah, that's
And
gonna be fun.
you had Matt Cardona trying out, you had Matt Cardona's father trying out. I mean, it was just I just love that shit. So all in all, I'm gonna go 3.5 beards. It's been a blast. I can't wait for Saturday because I know Collision is gonna
Yeah.
deliver, which just totally blows my mind. I'm interested in Friday how they're going to put the storyline not to bed because to bed is permanent, but they're going to put them down for a nap and they're going to come back around in a little bit and you're going to have to sprinkle them in every now and then because if you're off the airwaves, people are going to forget and you're going to stop moving merch. So how they quietly keep that storyline going, I am completely invested in what they're doing with the bloodline.
Yeah, because the other thing about that is what else has SmackDown got going for it right now?
Hmm.
I just yeah, they're gonna have to do somehow keep the bloodline relative or do something relevant, not relative, relevant, relatives, relevant, whatever. They've got to do
Relevant
something.
relatives.
There you go. They got to make them relevant relatives. But
Yeah.
yeah, um, but before we close, man, what do you think of this Lacey Evans stuff? I know you're a
Dude,
huge fan of hers.
Semper Fi, Devil Dog. I wish you nothing but the best. Odd programming note where, a couple days ago she switched from Lacey Evans to her married name, and she's in her little coffee shop in Texas, and extremely, extremely interesting to go this route. And I don't know if Charlotte's going to show up in her coffee shop and they're going to have a coffee shop brawl, but to see her go away quietly is kind of interesting. And I blame it on creative, Ric Flair and Vince McMahon because she got stopped and started
Hmm.
14 times, and then fortunate for her, unfortunate for the storyline, she gave birth. And it's yeah, crazy, very, very interesting.
Yeah.
And she got waylaid too by Sergeant Slaughter's family. Slaughter felt a certain kind of way, and he wasn't as disgruntled or disenchanted by the storyline as much as his family was. But yeah, so I guess she'll be off of our universal airwaves and making coffee.
Yeah. So that's what I was wondering. I didn't know if it was part of a work and they were repackaging her again. But I think Fightful just released that. Yeah, she's been released. So
Hmm.
then my next thought was, are we about to get a bunch of our releases from the merger that they keep talking about are coming? So I'm wondering if she's the first domino to fall. And then my other thought
Hmm.
was, damn, she'd be really good in AEW. Like, I'd like to
I
see her join the Outcast
Yeah, I think she'd be a lot of fun in the Outcasts. I
or
think she would
TNA.
be terrific in Impact.
Yeah, Impact.
Um, and I'm trying to get a hold of Rodriguez and El Rey to see if we could get her a mask and we could restart Lucha. And yeah,
Is the El
she's
Rey
got
Network
a.
even around anymore?
I
I
don't,
don't.
I don't, I don't think so. And
Yeah,
yeah, I don't think so. I'll get in touch with Prince Puma, Ricochet, and see if he can't pull some strings as one of the champions. But yeah, I think she would be awesome, a lot of fun and Impact. If Tessa, wherever Tessa lands, I think that would be a fun feud for her. Um, and but yeah, I was kind of thrown for a loop. I thought she was just getting ready to get repackaged because she got stopped and started again.
yeah.
But
They didn't know what
yeah,
to do with her. I don't think.
yeah.
And I don't
But you,
like that storyline with Ric Flair, and man, that was
oh,
garbage. Like Ric Flair knocking
terrible,
her up and all this other. I mean, come on.
terrible.
It was so bad. And I think
God,
that just killed her. And
yeah,
that was old man Vince's booking. And but
yeah,
I think she's talented. I think
yeah.
given the right circumstances, she could be an asset. She's in Texas. She should reach out to Thunder Rosa and do Mission Pro. Like get in there
There
and
you
get some
go.
reps with Mission Pro Wrestling. Uh,
Hey,
friend of the
hit
show,
him.
Thunder Rosa
Hey,
and that group.
Thunder Rosa and her team, Tony and the crew, uh, Mission Pro Wrestling, or she hits up Booker T and
Yep.
goes over to his reality of wrestling and get some reps and get some of their young wrestlers over. But yeah, it's fortunate or unfortunate depending on how you look at it. You see some superstars go away, and you're like, okay, cool, that's good. That'll give someone else an opportunity because it wasn't working out for you. But yeah, I think she was a victim of creative, and unfortunately, she's gonna be off our airwaves. So, Semper
Yep.
Fi. Hope you do well, and Godspeed.
Yeah. Bottom line is, whatever she wants to do, I hope she does it. If she wants to get
Word.
back into wrestling, great. If she wants to, go run her coffee shop and that's all, cool. Whatever
Hey,
makes the talent
oh yeah,
happy. So
word.
I appreciate it. So we mentioned friends of the show. Hopefully that's you guys. We hope you're enjoying everything we're doing. If you are, please like and subscribe. If you are on YouTube, hit the little notification button so you know when we go live. We tend to go live at least for sure once a week. We are trying to go twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Life gets in the way sometimes. We have real jobs. This doesn't pay the bills yet. But the more of you that like and subscribe, the more we'll be able to do.
Keep
Just
it up.
saying. Same with Rumble. Check us out on Rumble. We are live there Tuesdays and Thursdays. Saturdays, we go live Saturday nights on the Fantasy Sports Core channel. Sometimes we'll be live on our Rumble or we'll be on there. It depends on if it gets set up right or not. So check our Rumble out or check theirs out. But Saturday nights we go live. Also, we kind of recap their week. If you watch us Tuesdays and Thursdays, it might be some repeated stuff. But hey, we tend to go on tangents no matter where we're at. Yep. Check out the audio podcast version of this video and whatever else you want to listen over. This is the 101 episode of our podcast. So that'll be out wherever you get your podcast from. No Shave Man Cave. Find us on Apple. Give us those 5-star reviews. Find us on Spotify, all the normal places you get podcasts and some that I've never heard of. Check us out. We're out there. We appreciate everybody. Like, subscribe. Everywhere you can do that. Follow us on our socials. No Shave Man Cave, Twitter, X, Threads, all of those, Instagram, TikTok. We are out there trying to do more and more on those. So we appreciate it. And if you want to get in touch with us, have some ideas for the show, hit us up on X or email us, noshavemancave@gmail.com. All right, man. Hot tag time. Take us out.
Bump and feed, bump and feed. I'm just waiting. I can't wait. Someone's gonna chime us. Someone's gonna text. Someone's gonna X us. Ooh, that's dirty. You just X'd me.
X
Uh,
me.
hey, can you guys do a show about the greatest moonsaults? And I've already lost on that one. But Io Sky, beautiful. Tiffany Stratton, close second. But yeah, hell yeah, hit us up. Let us know what you want to see. We are having a blast. 101. Holla at your boys. Uh, your wrestling veterans, your favorite veterans here in the wrestling space. Thank you for joining us. And we are so jacked you're here. To our brothers and sisters in arms, hurry up, get your ass home. We need you home, and so does your family. So take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we'll see you on the